Welcome to the Mystical Motherhood podcast. This is Chelsea, and I want you to create a happy family. I use my background in Western and Eastern medicine, birth, and ancient yogic practices to help the modern mother learn how to live a healthier life and create conscious children. This is your guide to fertility, conception, pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and the early childhood years. Are you ready to live the life of your dreams? Welcome back to Mystical Motherhood's episode number 15. This week, we're going to learn about how to let go of friendships when they no longer match the frequency or the energy that you're running. As you begin to change, so will the people you surround yourself with. And you need to learn to look at relationships as a reflection of a part of you. And so if there's anything that bothers you about them, you need to heal that within yourself. But you also sometimes need to cut cords. So in this episode, I teach you exactly how to do that. Kateryna is back with us, still on the road to conscious conception. And each week she is changing her entire life. And this week's really focused on improving her friendships. I hope you enjoy. It feels like you're snipping off parts of your life or people in your life, and almost closing a lot of doors of things. It feels like you're streamlining even more.
Yeah.
And so that you can get really, really focused on what you want and what you don't want in your life. Does that feel accurate?
Yeah. So this has been coming out with like one of my best friends.
It's a friend. It's exactly. They're like, she needs to clear a friend. Okay, great. Let's go.
And so it's just a little I know what needs to be done is just obviously to process, it's never a fun process, but, she's been the one that's always been, and I think I notice it more now, but she's always, anything I say, right? She'll be like, oh yes, I one up you in a sense, but I don't think she realizes that. So at this point, she's going through a lot of change herself within her personal life, her relationship. She's just lost. She's just a mess. And it's just, every time she calls me now, by the time it gets to me, it just starts triggering me. It's
You're
not
exhausted.
It's not even a fun call because a little backstory, she herself was trying to get pregnant. She started 2 years ago, and she finally found out that there was actually a physical problem that she has to do, she has to do additional services either way. So obviously when, I made it clear that I was starting to go through this process, it was a constant, how's it going? What are you doing? Did you do this? And I'm like, I don't really want to talk to you about this either because it's causing me even more stress and anxiety. But now lately, I don't know, it literally just got to a point where I'm just I just need to really back away from all of this. And, it's just a kind of really step back from me, my end.
And you need to close doors on some people in your life.
Yeah.
So that's exactly, so whoever's listening, Kateryna's here with us every other week or so, and she's sharing her process of becoming pregnant and in a different way, and in a new way, which is clearing herself and creating the best life before her child comes, not after. Yeah. So when you're going through the process of slightly awakening and becoming your best friend or your best self, you may lose a lot of people in your life. And that happened to me too. And I don't bring myself up unless it's super necessary, but I had a friend from college that I never thought I would lose. And I haven't lost really many people, but the more I change and the more that I go into what I'm really supposed to be doing here on earth, the more a lot of people can't handle that.
Yeah. And it feels just like so like I'll answer it and I'll engage, but I keep it very like, kind of neutral. But I feel like she keeps looking to like, for me to like jump into her like drama or negativity or something. And I'm just like she constantly says something to like, kind of make like a comment that like some people would react really like, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta go.
Well, what's happened is like, she's kind of like a bird energy.
Right.
So like a lot of gossiping. And so women need to gossip. That's a part of our nature. But what we need to be careful of is all the all the negativity that we're talking when we start to really become our greatest selves, we're not going to there's no need to talk about people negatively anymore.
Right.
It almost just drops from your way of being. And so a lot of the old ways you were, or the people that you were, will no longer, you'll lose those friends. And it's crazy when it happens because it's worse than losing a boyfriend or a partner, because that's, is going to happen, but you never think you're going to lose a girlfriend because you're so close. It's like sisters, like on another level. But then there comes a point where it's some in relationships that somebody will grow. And so it's hard. There's a little bit of jealousy with her. I mean, the energy of this woman is it's like somebody's poured cement over her, and half of her body. First off, she's cut off from her body, so the top half is overactive, and like might be her language or something very overactive, and the bottom part of her body is incredibly stuck. Yeah, in life, into all this gook of like family or whatever, genetics.
Oh yeah,
so much.
Yeah,
and so she overcompensates the top of her body for the bottom, so that you can understand what she's happening to her energetically. Yeah. And so she reaches out to everybody to like almost help her heal that, but she doesn't know how to do it herself. And so you have to have compassion for her, because I think she internally sees you healing, and she's like, how are you doing that?
Yeah.
How are you doing this? Show me how. But she doesn't know how to do that. And so there's going to be a lot of people as you start to become, a higher frequency individual that are going to either be attracted or repelled by that.
Yeah.
Does that feel true to you? And it's going to really bother you, like, particularly family members. They'll start to be like, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing that yoga? Because they want you to stay at the same frequency as them.
Yeah.
Because if you start to go over them, then it only reflects to them like a mirror all the things they're not doing.
Exactly. No, that sounds exactly what it, I know physically, like mentally, she's, like I said, there's a lot going on with her. And, and I've kind of helped her go through like, personal things like a breakup, and like, but now it's like kind of back into the relationship. So it's always a back and forth with her, with this one, her boyfriend. And it's just like, and I know, she tries to come on like through a kind of like compassionate, supportive, like aspect, but it just doesn't feel like genuine at all. Not like one bit to me. And I'm just like, I can't, I'm just like, I just can't. I can't.
So Kateryna, this is bigger than just this woman. So what you're doing is you're literally changing your DNA with me. And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. But what you're doing is by changing your belief systems, your thoughts, and your emotions before you have a baby, you're changing your DNA, because you have the power to do that. They're proving that in science. That's my next whole book, right?
Right.
People are like, it's a new field, but I'm relating science to spirit. So you have the power to do that. So as you do that, other things in your life are going to crumble. And Kundalini is the same thing. And what you're doing is Kundalini too. So you're naturally going to have you're going to just start to break. It's like if a city was falling around you, that part's going to break off, that part's going to break off, that part's going to break off. And you're just still going to be standing there watching it all collapse, right? But you have to kind of close your eyes now. They want you to imagine like you're the spider in the middle of this web.
Okay.
And as you switch your DNA, and it's like the spider can change magically. Imagine yourself, you changing into whatever kind of animal or being or whatever. This web is still there. And so what this girl was a representation of is that old genetic line, like a sister, kind of like a sister in a way, the way you were. And so as you start to change, you're really going to start to clash with your old self, because what we have to realize, I think we kind of went into this last week, is relationships are just a mirror of you.
Right.
And so you can't look, and also I have to deal with like all the types of people I work with. They're on all types of wavelengths. I mean, even sometimes you have to meet people where they're at. And so you also have to look back in compassion as you change. And so be like, you have to say, I was once there.
Yeah.
I was once her. I was just recently her. And so it's frustrating that they can't keep up with you, right, and they're not going to change like you, but they probably won't.
Yeah.
And so as this is going to happen more and more and more. So this is probably the beginning of that, because you're internally changing your dynamics, your entire system, your emotional body, and your on an interdimensional level, because of all the internal work you're doing and everything that's happening to you with Universe Connected, right? So you have to look at this, look at from the web out and all these people you're connected to. And some of them, do you have any cousins involved, or maybe she's representing some cousins?
Definitely cousins, but I think she's the main representer.
Okay.
And then it just, kind of trickles down from there.
Okay. So there's two. So first off, just recognize I was once there. And anyone who's listening, as you begin to change and become a better person, it happens with so many people. You may need to cut the relationship off with your mother. Some people, they come to me and they say well, when do you know if it's necessary to have the relationship with your mother or not? If she's abusive and she's really hurting you and it's not healthy and you're not growing from it, you need to have space. And with these other relationships, you need to look at yourself in the mirror through this person and see that side of your anything that's left that needs healing out of you. Use that person as a mirror of a reflection of your own, anything that's left in you. And then once you know it's all healed within this woman, we'll use her today as an example, but she represents a lot of other people in your family and from your other friend line. Because your friends will begin to change as you're beginning to change more and more, right?
Yeah.
Are you feeling that?
Yeah. I kind of seen a shift of girls that I was social with, but kind of a shift more of just us becoming closer, just we're, just same interest or same classes, yoga, whatever it might be. It's kind of a different community change at this point. And, I started seeing that, and I just feel more and more of these conversations and when I, hanging out, I just see more and more of this, I don't even know. I'm don't even know how to really explain it. It's just obviously I'm picking up on the energy and the aura, and it's just I don't obviously I just don't really, it's not vibing anymore.
Okay. So what we're going to do a few things. Okay. We're going to cut cords today. So anyone who's listening, you have all these cords attached to these different people you're working with. And sometimes it'll be 50 and sometimes it'll be 1, and they'll be in different locations. So it's not it's going to be heart to heart. And you have to, when you become a little bit more sensitive to this type of energy, you can close your eyes and find where the cord is attached to you. And then the cord will often be a different type of material. So it may be a metal cord. It may be just a soft cord, but you can pull it out and then burn it or just separate it off of you. And it changes the connection between you and this person. So what we're going to do, Kateryna, I want you to pretend you're grabbing my hands.
Okay.
Bilaterally.
Okay.
And I want you to just see your body. You're going to still be in this, room here, but we're going to rise up through the sky, through the clouds, through, so it's getting darker and darker and darker and darker and darker. And as we go up from the density, because you can't really think in this type of density sometimes. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to rise real high, high, high with me until we get into this black womb feeling.
Okay.
And it's going to feel softer and softer and softer. And within this black womb, you may see the angels or faces that come out, or a softness. And if you don't know how to do this, if anyone's listening, you can do this at home too. You look up and in with your eyes focused up and in at your forehead. And then you can put the attention on the middle of your brain. And in the middle of the brain is the pineal gland. And as you start to awaken the pineal gland, you can actually see it. It will be some people see it as like a green meteor, or it will be like a diamond shaped meteor. And you peer into it, and there'll be certain holes of light that's coming out, like as a meteor would hit the earth. And you can watch yourself almost walk out the back of your brain and go through a portal up into these higher worlds. And the more and more people start to awaken on the planet, the more this is going to happen. So this is how I explain it when it first happened to me. And then your imagination is a pure connection to God. So when you're doing your meditations, this is what you can imagine you're doing. So first off, up and in to the pineal gland and then out. Try it, and it will start to, and with the Kundalini particularly, you'll start to see more visions. Trust the visions because they're direct connection from God. There's really no difference.
Okay.
So we're in this dark womb.
Okay.
And I almost want you to look down at Earth, or you can have it projected right where we are, of the relationship between you and this girl. And I want you to tap your forehead 3 times and tell me what this relationship represented in your life.
I think it represented a sense of my neediness, and a sense of a sense of belonging, and kind of my version of friendship, and kind of having that sisterhood, and just kind of doing the same acceptance, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I kind of used to always alter my emotions or anything to always please all my friends, before I even kind of thought about is this even making me happy, So I think that's how my relationships have always been. And now obviously, going through this, and I'm I don't, obviously it's taking a different shift. I'm okay to be on my own and really, choose a select variety of friends that really, make sense for me. So I think before that, being alone and just not having social things to do was my biggest fear. And you would do what they wanted you to do. So it may not even and you actually didn't even really, they're saying you didn't really even know what you wanted to do because you were just following that crowd. Yeah. Exactly. And so they would say, let's go do this tonight. You're sure, whatever, I'm down. And it really, you didn't know who you were then. No. And so you found an identity with this group of people that is what all of human race is doing. They look to a billboard and they say, oh, that's who I'm going to identify with. I see the Kardashians. Oh, I must identify with them because that's a bigger version of what I think I should be. And so it's really important to see that because it's so easy in order to change ourselves, our DNA, and who we're going to, as ourselves as a mother. It's almost we need to we don't know who we are, but when we start to even get a glimpse of who we are, which is pure divinity, it is. That's all we are. I can't think of anything else that I am. Is that now that I understood that, but before I was just reaching out to whatever was in front of me, and those attachments to the male, a boyfriend or something, or attachment to a friend that was mean to me, that was really just jealous of me, or all these things were just reaching out for that, that connection to myself inside, right? Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So see it what it's worth. And also for anyone who's listening, the relationships you're in are often, what are they? What are relationships? You have to look at the way you interact with these women, or particularly women, is if you're just getting together to both be mean about somebody, is that a relationship? Yeah.
Or is that, what do we define as a relationship in this new age? Is it getting together with a group of girls and drinking and then talking about our, which it could be for sure. I mean, that could, what we could define a relationship stuff, but as we start to awaken, what is a relationship?
Right. Exactly. And I think to me, and think it more to me, it was more of like the drinking, going out and like doing like, the girly things.
Yeah.
Just like, basically, it's funny you say that because like, just like with society and social change and social influences, like, that's a big contributor to, my friend. And it's basically the world she lives in, basically wants to like copy and like, be like everyone that she sees and like dress like them and like kind of, copy their lifestyle and whatnot. And it's just like, and it's a constant like keeping up with the Joneses kind of in a way.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and that's kind of how she's always been, but I feel like it's getting like a little more like competitive. It's always a competition with her. And I'm like, I'm not there. I don't care, obviously.
But so let's put yourself, so now we're going to watch you guys, the two of you together, and how she mirrors those parts of you that are still unhealed.
Yes. Okay.
So you can also say parts of you can also say, there's also a competition with me sometimes. And it's like, so what this woman's teaching you is those parts unhealed within you that you can actually see within yourself. Like you're learning that that's not who you want to be anymore, but there was a part of you like that, because we just worked on that last week, and she's just mirroring that amplifying that to another level for you. You were jealous of all the women around you that were getting pregnant.
Yeah.
And there was a competition with that and at work. And so this is just what they're doing for you this week is they're just bringing you somebody who you thought was a trusted confidant to show you there's deeper wounds that are still there. Do you see that?
Yeah. Because literally it was, when did we speak? It was like over the weekend, and it just like kept like, trailing on. With
and
like
dying at you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Literally. I was like, oh my God. I was like, why can I not like shake this? It was like, not even like from the moment I woke up, but like I woke up, you started doing things, and all of a sudden like the same like little thought pattern will come up, and I'm like, oh.
So what was the thought pattern or belief system that came up after the conversation with this girl?
It was basically more like, it felt like more guilt on me, because the way we like kind of left it off, it just, I was basically like a little short and whatnot, but it just made me feel like a way of guilt, like of, kind of like really guilty for not, I don't know why for some reason, but that's the kind of what I felt like, really guilty and just like anxious. And like, now I'm like, oh, like, I might've not been like the nicest or, the most compassionate at that point, and it's like, well, she just only wanted to talk and like be friends and whatnot, but it was more of just guilt. But what she brought up was basically, she started asking me about like, about like, me going back to the doctors and like, about like getting, kind of consultations and results and like pregnancy and stuff like that. So that's basically where it triggered me more, because like I didn't want to get into that conversation, and she just like kept pushing it and like bringing it up. And that's where I basically like closed down. Not closed down, but I was just like, I just don't really want to engage in this conversation at this moment.
Well, I mean, this is really important to bring up, because it's also that it's like you were also working on kind of boundaries last week, and right. Jumping from one place to the next. And so let me just look what they wanted you to know about this. I mean, there's some competition with her, and this is important for everyone to know, is when you're trying to get pregnant and then your mother or all these different individuals in your life, your cousins, your friends, your family are like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Tell me. And so sensitive and almost private to you in some ways. And she didn't want to know out of compassion. She wanted to know out of comparison and just to know where you're at so she can know where she stands.
Exactly.
And so that was just what that is the same kind of issue that came up the week before of, watching everybody else become pregnant. And she was just showing you how you may even come off to other people on an energetic level.
Okay.
You see that? So
Yeah.
so she was really getting at you, and that you're making progress and that you're there. And so put yourself in those. So if there's a friend that let's put yourself in the shoes of, close your eyes with a friend that did have a baby. And you are excited for them, but on this small level inside, it's why isn't it me?
Yeah.
Why am I not getting pregnant? And almost that tearfulness, like you're happy for them, but you're not so happy for them, but you're happy for them, And so what she was she was showing that side of you. Do you see how that connection that you can be that too, but not, and you're just picking up on that.
Right.
And so with these people, when you have a conversation with somebody that really, really bothers you, look at yourself before you look at the other person, and always look, what is this person representing as a part of me that I still need to heal? Because otherwise it wouldn't bother you.
Right. Exactly. No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, because everything that did get triggered was more, and I know it's a reflection of me, and I used to, because me and her were the same person. So now as it's changing, you're exactly right. It wasn't, it might sound like more of a compassionate kind of coming forward and asking questions, but deep inside, it didn't feel compassionate. It was just more of just her, trying to figure out, where are you in life? And I think for me, because I do keep things a lot more private and personal, just because I don't really need to share it with everybody. I think that drives her drives her crazy, not knowing of what is going on.
Okay. So what we need to do is there's going to be more and more relationships that start to change in your life. And it's almost like you need to allow more of this higher consciousness just to flow through you.
Okay.
And then from that, you allow that light to just shine out so that you don't have to answer their questions. And they just see this new light in you, and they don't really understand what it is, right, but they know that they want that too. And with these people, as this happens, and whoever's listening, if you're listening, it will likely happen to you too, because you wouldn't be listening otherwise. And so as you start to grow and your light starts to become really profound, and you start to, just change, and you want to live a healthier and better life, people will either be repelled by you or they will be attracted to you. So there's 3 types of relationships in this world. There's people that come to you that love you, and they reflect that side of you that's growing. There's people that will come to you that don't like you, because you need to have the polarity to understand who you are. And then the third group will be, if you get lucky enough, you'll find a tribe or a group of individuals that are just like you.
Okay.
And so they'll help you propel you forward. But that group of people that don't like you, that are, they actually show you the best, those parts of you that still need to be worked on, or to be let go, and just to not be attached to their thoughts or belief systems about who you are, So I want you to watch your light. So we're still up in this higher dimension, and I want you to just watch your light just spilling forth. And the energy of this light is kind of like the color or the texture of lace. Mm-hmm. And it's shining through you. And with that, I want you to just shine it out on all these different individuals in your life. Put it in their faces. This is what I'm doing now. To these, all these girls that you would go drinking with, or all of these, even the ex-boyfriends, and
right,
then your family members, and then all the genetic line that you can see, that you're changing it for all of them. And then if you're ready, if there's any cords attached to you with this woman, I want you to find them in this light, and I want you to just watch them pull them out. And we're going to burn them with the purple flame.
Okay.
Tell me where they are if you see them.
I feel like hers is more within my heart chakra.
Yeah. And it's a little bit by your solar plexus, like right in the middle there.
Yeah, it's like right in the middle of both.
Yeah.
Like kind of right there.
So pull it out.
Okay.
And with that, you're both cutting the need, and watch it burn, to be a mirror for each other anymore.
Mm.
And if she is that mirror for you, then you can just begin to almost see it as a reflection of all of these places and almost thank her. And as you grow, the frustration will become less because you'll be able to pick out quickly what she's trying to teach you.
Right.
And she's also that old self.
Yeah.
So I want you to, with that pulling out of this cord, I want you to go through all your memories with this friend of yours, good and bad, and look at all the good ones. And we're going to put them in this glass jar, and all the good ones, be so grateful for that, because you wouldn't become who you are now without going through that with her. In order to become who you're supposed to be, you have to know and what you are. You have to know what you're not.
Yeah.
And you had to experience that in order to know the opposite.
Right.
That's the rule of this planet. So be thankful that you had that. So you can say them out loud, or you can just put them in this glass jar. All these memories, good and bad. And then let me know when you're done.
Okay.
And then you can burn them, which disintegrates all this competition between the two of you. Which I believe might go back to being sisters in another lifetime.
Okay. Why do you think that?
I just said it.
Oh.
And with that, you break the bond of that old relationship.
Right.
That no longer exists now.
Okay. Yeah.
And then it's almost like, so now this is a little bit more 3D.
Okay.
As you break this relationship with this woman, part of yourself will almost walk out of you in this dimension. I want you to see, like, it's almost like a darker half of you is almost going to leave your body. And that's that mirror reflection that almost matches her frequency.
So it's funny you say that, because the same kind of like scenario has kind of just like been playing in my head.
Yeah, like you're separating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So watch it separate.
Okay.
And just watch it fall away. And it's almost in the back of your brain. It's like the responsive part of your, the animalistic limbic system that's just not the neocortex that, it's the limbic system that is reactive, responsive, animalistic. And it just sort of peels off of you like a dark shadow. And you can watch that burn away too. And with that, it allows more light to come in. And, this is what Kundalini technology is. This is what shadow work or any of this healing work is. It's just dropping off parts of yourself that are no longer necessary, that are more dense, so you can let more light in.
And I just think it's not funny. It's just like, the processes that you're going through, and it's like, you pick up on it right away. Like, exactly what needs to happen and what's going to happen. And I think just in general, people are just like, kind of not, might be scared at first to kind of, follow through with the steps and like really start breaking off and like breaking off from old patterns, from old friends, from old situations, old anything, and kind of starting to make your shift into your own little like path that, that's kind of where it's going to go anyways.
Yeah.
So, it's just,
how long it takes for you to let it drop away.
Exactly.
You could have attachments for 10 years. You could have attachments for 50 lifetimes. It's just how long do you want to be in the misery of this doesn't really exist?
And this doesn't because the same cycle is going to keep coming up and up and up and up. And it's just a matter of when are you ready to kind of, make your own change?
Yeah. So watch this part leave you. And so now you're sitting in this. So this is what I'm seeing. So now we're sitting here and you can see almost this 3D reflection of this relationship you had with this woman and then this other part of yourself, and they sort of merge. And with that, it cuts away every connection you have with that old way of being with her. And you shine so much bright light, you burning it, keep burning it. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to surround your body with the mirrors again. So all outward reflecting. So when she calls you or does that, she sees a mirror reflection of herself.
Okay.
And what she's also representing is some other family members. Does that feel accurate on some of these like patterns, behaviors?
I guess so. Like,
or it feels like either it's this lifetime or another lifetime. It's something related to family members with her. You might see the connections later. You might be like, oh, maybe, right. Like it could be some deep connections of, wanting to go out and drink or being stuck energetically like she represents, or the need to kind of up one. There's so much in depth, we're all so interrelated like a spider web,
Well, definitely the upping one is definitely family right now, because same thing. So, I have like a big group of cousins here, but my whole first like family and cousins are in Ukraine. So these are like my second and third cousins, but basically we just say it's like first cousins. But there's always been that like level of competition too with my cousins. And the one, she just had a baby a couple days ago. And I was actually like, really, I was like, you know what? I was like, that's great. I'm really happy for you. But deep down, like, you're a mess yourself. Like, yeah. You pushed this, and, like, I kind of see that now. Like, I was the same way. Like, I was pushing and like trying to grab everything to like make this happen. And I was like, and my husband said it. He's like, Kat, we haven't been truly connected in the past like 5.5 months. That's why it's not working. And I'm like,
because you two have to align in order to have a soul right. come down. That's the key to it. It's not about all these other people. It's about you and your partner.
But like him saying that, and I was like my jaw would have dropped on the floor. Like you would have thought he would have told me some scientific like miracle. But like, I'm like, right, you're right. Because I was so involved in this vortex of like pregnancy and like getting it and like trying to find every person or doctor or help or I don't know, anything I could eat or like vitamin, everything. And, and so she's basically kind of did the same thing, but kind of inside of me when the baby was born, I kind of laughed and I was like, I'm really happy for you. But like, I know that like deep down inside, it's not all okay. Like you just wanted this attention now. You wanted kind of like the social media attention, right?
Yeah.
So, but I realized that, and I was like, I was the same exact way though. I get it.
Yeah. So as you start to change, and as you start to be able to look at the way, as you change, don't judge people for who they are. Just look at them and almost in compassion of, I'm coming so far. Yeah. I'm changing so much. It's such a rapid rate that, I'm going to be a totally different person by the time it's over. And you will be. Yeah. It's a totally different life. I promise you.
Right.
And so all of those things and the ways of being is like, you just have to look at it as it's okay. Just laugh,
Yeah.
And it will happen more and more, but that's what they wanted you to kind of see.
Yeah. And it can happen with a lot of different people. And just for some reason, like with, my friend, it just like daggered. Like it just like stuck to me and it would not leave. No matter how hard I like tried to just like clean it off, until like literally like right now when we just spoke about it again.
So when this all happens, it's just send them compassion and send them love rather than getting angry at these people, but also see the part of you that, has come so far. That's what you have to do. That's a huge thing. And then, so what about these tests that you're doing? Are you doing more tests? And how do they?
No.
Okay.
She basically, before we started talking, that's when I told you, my doctor wanted, for me and my husband to go for consultations to a fertility doctor because it wasn't happening, And I'm like, I don't, and that's when basically all this started happening where I started reaching out to you, within the day, that's, when it happened. And we never went through with it. We had an appointment set up and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I don't need to go to a fertility doctor. I don't need to go to another consultation. This is all getting pushed too quickly for me. And, I was like, I think I need to take my own voice and stance back because a lot of people are just controlling my own body and emotions and my mindset.
Okay.
So basically, no, that's where it was. So I haven't even been back to the doctors.
Okay. And how are you feeling about that? Are you feeling a good trust in the process of becoming pregnant? Is there any other things?
No, I feel really calm about it.
Okay.
I feel good about it. I don't feel like, no, at this point, no, I really do feel like there's, there's a huge trust and it's going to happen sooner than later.
Yeah. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen. And then you can always go to the fertility doctor, but you've only been trying for 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
So great. Use that when you need it.
Right. Exactly. So the resources are there. Right. Yeah. So there's resources there. I just don't I don't think at this moment, I need anything at this point.
You don't need anything.
Yeah. I just, like I said, I felt like it was out of body experience and everybody was kind of controlling. I was on a conveyor belt and people were just putting me on there, which way to go instead of me kind of just taking a moment to myself.
Right.
Getting out of this vortex of wanting something so bad that I can't control.
Yeah. And then I promise you when it comes, if you're out of control, you're going to be way out of control for the pregnancy. Because imagine, I talk about this with so many people is imagine if you hadn't worked with me and you would have gotten pregnant then, who would you have been? A crazy, crazy, crazy girl, and they're like, she's like, all of them say the same thing. If I would have gotten pregnant when I wanted to at that moment, I don't know what would have happened, but now that they're just on the verge, or a lot of them are pregnant and which are they're, hiding it because they need to obviously protect the child, but they're so different. They healed.
Right. And I swear, if I would have been pregnant, at that moment where my doctor gave me Clomid and all that, if that would have happened, I think I would have been beyond crazy.
I hope you enjoyed this live session with Kateryna. If you want more, or you need some more help around pregnancy, conception, birth, postpartum, and the early childhood years, please head over to mysticalmotherhood.com. I have a lot of videos, a lot of articles that can really, really, really help you. You can purchase Mystical Motherhood on Amazon. And if you're interested in sessions to heal you or anyone in your family, you can also contact me on that page. I look forward to receiving your questions. If you like this podcast, please subscribe and let your friends know. It takes all of us to heal this planet, and I look forward to your return.